I go, okay, honey, pick something that you, that in the seeing things. You don't like to see something. And
okay.
what did we, oh, you want to work on one right now? What did we work on before? Do you remember?
I don't recall.
There was a particular phrase that he says, I just can't stand seeing that behavior. And I says, what behavior? And he says, seeing that that we're out of sync. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, we even muscle tested, so we didn't know what we were getting, except for you can watch on video. And so I'll say, I hate when my wife says...
I don't like it when my wife says I'm out of sync.
Yes, but it's only a 1, which was better because he had a 10 before. And how he was hooked into it, and we said visually. Let's find out. So let's see. We're going to work on something that you can't stand looking at. Money, something with me.
I like looking at money.
Money issues is what we
Oh, issues, yeah.
Okay.
Lack thereof.
So if you got something that you think that Scott should work on, then shout it out. Karen, I know you're observant. Embarrassment, no. You don't like to see work. Things that his wife make him do. So do you understand what I'm referring to?
No.
No? Really, honestly, do you want me to get Karen on the phone and
no,
she can make sense of it?
I totally understand now. Okay.
What makes my wife makes me do. I don't like when my wife puts me to work. And yeah, he's asked for a honey-do list and I refuse to give it to him. So I don't. And Karen says, I'm right here. All right. So I don't like seeing my wife put me to work. Now, if I asked you when you think of that,
I could watch you work all day.
I'm going to pinch you. Give you such a pinch. Okay. All right, so the comedian side's going to come out of him for a minute, but I would like to be a little serious, please.
Okay.
Get the candy out of your mouth. Stop chewing on... Give me the candy.
Well, you put them right next to me.
Oh, he's trying to hurry up and grab as many he can to shove in his mouth.
I haven't
And how
had
am I
chocolate
supposed to talk to
stars
him?
in a long time.
Oh, chocolate stars. That was something my mother did. She got corn chips and chocolate stars, and we would sit down and watch a movie, and we would just sit there and eat. And that was just something that has been dear to my heart. And, oh, I have a question for you guys. I'm going to leave it as is, but this came up just recently, and I thought that was very fascinating. And how am I hooked into it? On an auditory level of... Really? The tonality that really that's there. And I think it's just the way that my sister speaks to me. But my brother's varsity jacket, when he died, my mother had it, and my sister didn't have a coat. At least that's what she claims. And she wore it to school, and then she did something really kind of bad at school. And the teacher took the coat because it wasn't hers, even though her last name was that last name. But anyways, it's been, he died in 76.
Your brother did, yes.
And
his varsity jacket, he was out of school a year or two, though.
Yeah, he was already graduated.
So he probably graduated in
74.
74 or 73. So anyways, he had the varsity jacket, and the one teacher took the jacket away from Brenda's older sister, who was being disobedient or something. Took the jacket, and I don't know if the teacher retired. All of a sudden, this varsity jacket that belongs to Brenda's brother is now in a display case at the school.
Yes.
And the teacher had no right to keep it because Brenda's mother had looked for that jacket all those years ago after the son died and couldn't find it. And now here it is at the school, we found out.
And my mother's passed on, and my brother's passed on, and now you're talking about, you know, what, 30 years later? And
35 years later, at least.
So, you know...
But the jacket wasn't there 3 or 4 years ago when your other nephew was going through this school.
I don't know. He didn't say that.
He didn't
I've got my kids on the ball to go look for this coat. Part of me would like just to know what the story was. Part of me don't care. Part of me feels like I'd like to have it back because I don't really have anything of my brother's. But at the same time, where would I put it? Bring it home, stick it in my closet.
Right now, if it's on display, it's kind of an honor to have it there. So we're kind of, we don't know what we really should do. Should we go ask the school, like, how'd you guys ever get this? And they might have found it in it was the old gym teachers who took the jacket from her sister. And
but
I think when he retired, maybe they found it in his office or something. I don't know. But
I also know is that people lie to me up there. I mean, I have asked stuff, and they've just boldly lied, not just 1, 2, 3. And then I find out the whole truth somewhere else. And so then I confronted them with that truth, and they're saying, they pretty much never answered. I just let it go, knowing the fact is that my faith that was in them, because they had a certain authority, I didn't have to follow that authority, so that was something I had to learn. But still, it was very disturbing to know, and okay, where am I going with this, is when my sister called up, she has this certain tonality that gets me all fired up, and makes me want to fight. And I've been watching her do this for a couple times now. But
not fight with your sister, but just fight against a common foe.
Yes. You know, and she's got a good argument. I mean, sure. But I can see she wanted to pit me against my other sister, and I realized that had happened. I said, oh, I am not playing this game. And this is what I call mind control games. I do not like them, and I've been studying them, I guess, even though I didn't ask to study them. First is that semantics, where people immediately, they don't care whatever you said, there was the one thing you said, and all of a sudden the whole world evolves around that one particular word, and they blow it completely out of proportion. And if they want you to see them in a good light, then they're really going to be blowing a lot of things out of proportion.
Yes.
So, the tonality. So how am I hooked? I'm hooked in how she sits there and tells me and whines and is fearful, and where is it sitting? It sits very steady in, I would have to say, my left ear. I even did the healing tool, ear accessing. That'll be up soon. Like I said, I have a lot of editing to do. It sometimes gets very intense. Like I said, it's very important to watch. The submodalities is I feel it intense. I feel it's a tonality. It's steady. And when I call her out on it, you can see the timbre of her voice change, as if she has to cover her tracks. And what they're showing you this submodality because apparently I need to release this. Yeah, why not? For how I'd release it, right now it's a 10 plus, and it's yellow, and it sucks away my confidence, but yet it gives me confidence at the same time. How are we going to put this? Another way that she does it is that she'll, oh, I love you, I worry about you, and then continues to tell me how she doesn't like one of my behaviors. And I will, at first I was like, yeah, okay, and just let her talk, and then she won't shut up. She will continue to keep doing this behavior over and over until she convinces me to switch it. And what does she want me to switch it to? What she wants. She's not the only one that does it. I have recently watched how another sister of mine, as well as, remember, we project these people to do this, so I'm not blaming them. Project one of my family members that's closest to me, and that's where you're going to notice your biggest things. The thing that you need to work on the most will be the one that's projected into your face of the bitch slap, and the one that's repetitively doing it will be usually the one that lives close to you. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be an animal. It could be a neighbor. Could be, you know, pretty much anything. And it's that tricking, because as soon as they give you that tone, it sets you up, and then they turn around and they use a steady beat, and so you feel it. I couldn't figure this out for the longest time. I would be like, one day I was eating cereal. Now I lived in a trailer, and it was one end to the other, so it's quite a few feet. How far do you think that is from there to here?
About 30 feet. About
30 feet, and I was eating cereal that was crunchy. I chew with my mouth shut. I learned that a long time ago. If not, your face gets slapped. So I always chew with my mouth shut. And she was in the other room, and I don't know what kind of mood she was in, but all of a sudden, do you have to eat like that? Shut your mouth. I says, my mouth is shut. Now you got to remember, I'm much older than she is. And she then proceeds to get very angry, telling me to go eat in my room, stop eating it, throw it out. She was trying to find anything she could, because the noise was bothering her so much that she wanted it to stop. And I've been in that predicament where there was just too much noise, the intensity was too much. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what mood she was in, but it was enough that she controlled my world. I had long, beautiful hair, and she would always tell me that I looked awful, and I shouldn't be wearing my hair like that. It looks like it lived, you know, from the 80s. You need to cut it. You need to change it. And I was like, what? And before you know it, I obeyed that.
She would chip away at you little by little.
And it would come to you without you knowing. You wouldn't pay attention to.
It was so gradual.
It was very gradual, and I was like shocked how, and the little things, like for instance, like with Facebook, which is funny. This person, I've watched other people do it. They will like everybody else's stuff but yours. You'll talk, you'll post, you want to have a conversation, and they completely ignore you.
But they were a good friend of yours at one time.
And same for a family member. We've had family members that would just ignore. They'd stand right in your face, and you wouldn't exist to them. And so that is one of the things that I need to pull out and take care of. And for me, apparently, is that I must be hooked into it to my ears, because I listen to when it's out of alignment, and then I try to do the right thing to make it better, and really make it better for who? For who? Them. Why? Because I want them to love me. And that's a pattern that is very unhealthy, and it really, really needs to be taken care of. You know, someone agrees that this, you know, people agree that this is what happens.
So
it's more than, you know, so here's the thing.
So we're not alone in this.
Right. If I were to say to Janae, if I were to say, what is the main, okay, Scott, we've talked about this before, she can't put that little line above.
Oh.
And she has told me her real name.
Didn't know that, sorry.
So, we're going to do this again. So,
okay.
Her name is Janae.
Okay.
And you're hooked, huh. Oh, I wish you would call and play with me right now. That'd be good. You know, call up or... So, okay, so Janae, when you hear that or watch that, okay, so where does it fall under? For you, it's the auditory. It's the pauses that they do. So when you're listening to them, do you hear them to make pauses in, like, cueing you? Like my husband will say, okay. And the next thing you know, I start to jump up thinking, all right, what do I got to do?
Yeah.
But there's pauses. The next thing that you notice is that there's an intensity of how it's going to come at you like a steam engine, from what I can see. And let's see. Now you have shape. If you were going to say, when you say, yeah, this sounds familiar, what shape would you say it is? Because without realizing it, yeah, it goes to abandonment. But it is definitely being hooked. You know, because we can even say that under the small intestines about profoundly deep unrequited love, how you give love and you don't get it back. But this is a part of a particular pattern that seems to be in the group consciousness. It's very, very strong. And it literally is hooked into, from what I can tell, our smell factor. And sometimes if we were to place a smell on it, it stinks. You know, we walk around and go, that just stinks that they ignore me. We may not claim a particular stink, but in this case, it does. And so, and what it is that I think this is a very much a I'd say a modality, a sensory system ways of abandonment. We could do the visual as well. But in this case, looking at that, the auditory, let's see. Now that's interesting. For Janae, your direction of the abandonment, if we were to look at that, when you were to listen to it, notice that there's a particular direction that you have hooked it in. For instance, like with hearing, any sensory system, because it's in a range of, you know, front, forward, back, left, right, up, down, in any clock position, there is a particular range. For her, there's a certain location, And if I were to look, part of me feels like it's in the 10 o'clock position if you're facing the clock. And it's like a certain sound that sounds like it's above her. And so it has the authority figure to some degree. It feels kind of heavy. And you know that it's going to come down in like a boom. That is the thing I'm picking up. And it is about... Hey, Robert. And... Oh, Robert. Yay, hi, Robert. Okay. Sorry. Alright, so, the sound of it. That's interesting. Now all of a sudden I see a bunch of chains, links. So, Janae, does it feel like you are being pulled? And yes, I'm saying the word stink. And so I feel like this stinks. You're pulled, you're controlled, you're given the direction regardless, and they want nothing to do with you, but yet they have this authority over you. Ah, yes, sick in my stomach, fear. Okay, so how would we tell her to heal this? Is that I would have you hold R3D, and it's when you start to dream. So this goes back to the submodalities now. So when you're dreaming, doing your best to dream, and I'm not talking about sleeping dreaming, I'm talking about the dream of what you want to do, what you want to be when you grow up. Jen would always say that when she grew up, she wanted to be a princess or whatever, or ballerina, and somebody would be nasty and say, oh yeah, well I wanted to grow up and be this too, but it ain't going to happen. Oh, that's right, when Jen says I was going to grow up and be an actor. Yeah, and then the other one says, well I wanted to grow up and be a princess too. So I feel like...
People try to dash your dreams.
Dash the dreams. I feel like somebody's trying to control Janae's dreams, though. And that fear... So what we're going to do is I'm going to, hopefully she'll...
She says, right now it's like they're saying we're not good enough. Don't ever believe that.
Yes, yes. That is what we do, is how we interpret it, is that we're not good enough. So we have to pull somebody in, and it is that hearing. We do have lots of shows. We have 4 shows. On Friday, we have moved from 2 to 4 to 5 to 7, so we're in a better slot. We're going to start doing interviews on Friday. When I get my own account on Medicine Women Reveal, I'm going to be starting to do interviews as well. So just keep that open in mind if you have a talent or you know somebody that does that wants to be interviewed. That would be great. You can send them my way. So we're going Friday, not this Friday, but the following Friday. Her name is Karina. Karina, I cannot pronounce her name.
Katrina?
No, there's no T in it.
Okay,
and I can't pronounce her last name, but she is a, I think, she's an intuitive psychic. She does some crystal channeling, and we're getting an interview and the prep set up right now, and so it'll be fun to learn all about her, just like you will. And if you'd like to call in on that show, it's going to be on Sepia, nc.com radio. Pay attention to go to the fan page and or the MW or Medicine Women Reveal profile page, become a friend, and because I post all on there. I wish there was a better way to post to let you guys all know about the good stuff. But anyways, we're going to start doing interviews, and she would like to have callers call in, and she can give readings. And again, they're all free and they're all fun. So now that we have that, why don't we take the caller, 501. Hello, you're on the air with Brenda.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Brenda.
So,
Hey, how are you doing, darling?
good. See, she said her name.
Yes,
Did you get
I believe you now.
Are you ready to play?
I am.
Okay, so when I say healing, or when I say playing, that's always about healing. And in this case, we know it's about abandonment, and I think it's interesting how, I'm glad that you were able to follow along on how I was talking about it's the sensory system, because it's very minute, but it's so strong. So we're going to, let's see, we're going to have you do a little hope therapy. No, we're going to have you do that on the side. But what we're going to have you do is pay attention to the sound. Okay, when you're thinking or hearing or feeling your family member do this, what bothers you the most? Is it the seeing, the feeling, the hearing, the taste, the smell? What do you notice?
The feeling bothers me the most.
Does she, it's a she, right?
Yes, it was her. Well, actually, it was both her and my father, but I grew up with my mom. Was around me the most, so yes. And incidentally, when you were talking about the Facebook thing, it's like people from my past that I don't know, all this stuff is coming up for me to deal with all of a sudden. And I don't even know why I allowed them on my Facebook, to be honest, but because it's like they ignore me.
Yes.
And then I get my feelings hurt, and it feels like, okay, all this repetitive stuff that my mom did is slapping me back in the face.
Right. Octarine is really a cool astrologer, and Scott, if you could, I know you're talking to her right now, but slip her mic on, and Octarine will tell you, like, I think she said it was family or something energy is coming to the surface, why it is, you know, slappiness in the face. So Karen, can you tell us just a little bit, astrology-wise, of why this stuff is slapping her in the face right now?
The biggest thing going on right now is that Saturn moved into Scorpio on Friday. It will be in Scorpio for about 3 years, till September of 2015. And this is really stirring up a whole bunch of stuff. We've also got a Uranus-Pluto square event going on that's also going on for quite some time. And that's creating lots of turmoil and changes and angst. But the Saturn Scorpio square is really pushing us to get rid of what we don't want. To clear out all that crap. And you and I talk about all the time that I've got. And it is crap.
Yes, it is.
It's crap.
It's floaters.
All the stuff that you don't want, all the emotional baggage. And it's the universe is literally pushing us to become who we really are.
Yes.
And how many times have we heard that line for so many, for years now? People say, you gotta find out, you gotta figure out who you really are. Well, we're getting universal help now.
Yes.
And that's, in a nutshell, that's without, looking at her chart and studying it. And I'm not really an astrologer, I'm just learning, but
She's good though. Well, you did a blog, and I love the way you played with the words, and it made me understand more about astrology. So I appreciate it, dear, for coming on and explaining this to us all. So.
You're welcome. That's the goal of my blog, is to try to explain stuff, because astrology is deep and complex, and it's hard to learn, and there's so much going on right now that I'm feeling like people need to understand what's happening, and I'm hoping that what I write is making sense to the people that don't understand anything about astrology.
Right, you need to keep posting it on my wall so that I know that I can share it with others too about it, because it is important. All right, thank you, dear. I'm going to hit your mic, so we'll talk to you in a bit.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. What's important to understand, and that's why I teach about what is becoming a spiritual human. It is taking what you know on the depths of how you know it, and creating that closure so that you can actually let go of this excess baggage without having to constantly feel weighed down and shit hit you in the face. And for instance, we're going to look at your stuff, Janae, of how you know it. And right now, if you were to, like I said, focus on those, what words are we going to use? I'll have Scott write down the words. Well, in this case, it's the way they ignore you or the way they abandon you. Do we want to look at, how do we want to talk about it?
Well, it's, right now, I equate it with abandonment, although they are ignoring me. It's like a put down and ignore,
Put down too.
an importance that they're placing upon me.
Okay.
Sort of.
Okay.
Or allow them to place upon me.
All right, so what shape is it? If you were to come up with a shape, what shape would you think it is?
I can't tell you, girl.
Actually, it feels like a glob, and it feels like it's a shawl, and it feels like it actually, you're supposed to be, like you were told that you have to put this on and wear it.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and that's what
A glob, if I can say that, yeah, it's a glob.
Yeah, it looks like a glob. And does it feel heavy or light?
Heavy.
Heavy, yeah. And does it create a pressure? Okay, so does it feel more constricting in certain places than others?
Yes.
Okay.
It feels more constricting, like, it always makes me feel really sick to my stomach, and nervous in my stomach. It also feels the pressure on my chest and my heart.
Right, okay. So that's what we're going to look at. And so if I were to say, okay, if we started to take, well, see, now I can't do it yet. Is there a heat or a temperature in there?
Yes, it feels hot.
Okay, that's what I see.
Hot.
All right.
It's not cold for sure. It's not warm. And then living warm, it's like, I want to get out of your heat, sort of thing.
Yeah. That's good words of saying it. All right. Now, does it have have a pulse to it?
A pulse, yes, ma'am. It's more like it's almost like when you're having an angina attack on your heart.
Yeah.
And it pulses very fast. Well, I feel that in my stomach and my heart. So a lot of times in my stomach, yeah, I do feel it. That's what hurts.
Okay.
I know I'm kind of rambling here, but
No, you're doing great. You're doing great because we're just narrowing it down. Now, if you were to get up and move and do your daily life, does it feel like it stays in one shape, or does it actually start to move and trip you? And does it feel like it changes its shape?
I don't know how to answer that because I'm not really sure about the changing of the shape. You'd have to help me.
Okay.
But it does feel like it trips me up.
Okay. It feels like it's in charge.
Yes.
All right.
I feel like it's in charge.
So now I'm just going to find out.
Me a lot of times.
What's it do?
It paralyzes me a lot of times.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, so what I'm going to do is that because you feel it the most, and you know it has to do with abandonment and the put down, and notice how you see it, because there's a part of you that, like, let's look at Facebook, so we kind of use our imagination. When you're looking at it on Facebook, you actually feel shunned or shut out, correct?
Exactly, yes, that's perfect.
Okay, and it's like as soon as they know you're looking, they don't even look at you. They just glaze across their eyes and turn. This is kind of part of the imagination. And they're deliberately sticking their nose up and ignoring you. And what we're going to do is we're going to first notice how this, when they do that, it actually feels, and you can feel that shape around you. And what we're going to do with that shape is we're going to start, and you're going to tell me whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. If we start taking the shape and start pulling the shape off of you so it's not touching you, can you do that or not?
I don't know how.
Okay.
In my imagination, I'm supposed to try? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, because I know that in a certain part of imagination, yeah, you can whip it off, but if you to feel it to be removed, it feels like you can't do it. It feels like you're paralyzed, like you were saying.
Exactly.
So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to notice that there's that weight. What we're going to do to that weight is we're going to ask that inner child of you to come to the surface. How would we want to change that weight? Would we want to prop it up so that it becomes lighter? Do we want to put helium balloons around it so it pulls off the weight? How do we want to do it? We want to distract them so they don't notice that you're doing this. Okay? They're ignoring you anyway, but we really want to distract. So when you start imagining that you're changing the weight, you can even have a button where it takes the gravity and starts pulling it off of you, so the weight starts to lift. Can you feel the difference?
Can I feel the difference if I prop it up?
Yes.
Do it when they're not noticing me? Yes. I can feel the difference.
Okay, so we're going to, is that good, bad, or indifferent?
It's indifferent, really.
Okay, that's good. So what we're going to do now, while that's happening, is we're going to take and start putting, now what's funny is I see an imagination that if you were to take and put little electrical sparks from you, and it's kind of like starts to zap it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that does that make it good, bad, or different when you do it to it?
It makes it good.
All right. So you've got that. Anytime when it tries to touch you, it's got an automatic response. It doesn't hurt you at all, but makes you feel better, and it starts to zap it. And they're like, what the hell? And they're trying to control it, but you're like, go ahead, ain't going to happen. And then you turned up the intensity on it so that it starts to wiggle and jiggle, and it has less of a hold on you, and it becomes more weightless. Does that feel good, bad, or indifferent?
That feels good.
All right, so let's just keep doing that. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that hot that they think that they can do, and you're going to actually start taking, and I don't care how you want to do it, like imagine that you pushed a button and it just starts doing a cooling system. And all of a sudden the hot starts to get scared and freeze and start to move away. So then the shape of it starts to get smaller. So this glob actually starts to not want to be touching you or be around you. Is that good, bad, or indifferent?
That's good.
Okay, so we're going to keep doing this. And what's going to happen is that you finally notice that they have this, we're going to start on the stomach area. And you noticed that it's constricted because it looks like a belt buckle, or it looks like what?
Well, a belt, a constricted belt.
Okay.
Sounds accurate, yes.
So what you're going to do is you're going to imagine that you're taking the belt off. And there's not a dang thing you can do about it, because every time they go to look or touch, they get zapped. So now you have permission to take that off. So as you take it off with grace and ease, and you just take and you imagine that you pull it out and you threw it in the treasure chest, and then it disappears. Okay, so do you feel better?
Yes.
Now let's go up to that heart, and we're going to take the, now this one looks a little bit more complicated. Don't let it fool you, because I don't care if it looks like there's a lock on it. You're going to take and you're going to have the automatic key. You'll see it appear in your hand, and you're going to unlock it. And you're going to notice that you locked it from the inside out because you didn't want their stuff to hurt you anymore. Okay? So now this is where we're going to, okay, you're going to give yourself permission that you're going to take all of this negativity, and you're going to take this glob, and you can actually slip right out of it. And you're going to take and put, I don't care, a magic light, and pretend like you're scooping up, and you're going to start pulling it all and putting it all into the treasure chest. And you're going to start noticing how they're screaming at you, like, what are you doing? Put that back on. You're like, I can say no. Do you know what a rebel looks like? I'm going to become one. I don't care how you do it, but all of a sudden you're going to take the strength that they think they have over you, and you're going to take their goobers off of you, including that big glob, and you're going to keep taking out what those words. Now their actions of not clicking on you and not saying and recognizing and acknowledging you, you're like, that's okay. Because you're going to take and say, I'm done looking at this. I'm done looking for love from you. You remind me of my father. You remind me of that stuff that I've always wanted to have a recognition. But there are more people out there that can give it to me than you, and I don't need that. So then you're just going to keep pulling it out. As you do that, we're going to preserve all the positive learnings, and you can do it as quick as you want. And as you allow yourself to go a little bit more, you're going to notice that what's left is that you just wanted their approval.
Yes, absolutely.
And you realize that that little part of you, that 3-year-old that wanted the approval, we're going to preserve all the positive learnings and notice that you already had their approval. That's why they are trying to control you. You already have it. And you're going to notice that, wow, I didn't need your permission to control me. I'm going to let that go, so you're going to pull it out. Now, when you look at what you've pulled out, it's a big glob, it's over there in the treasure chest, it's ready to leave. Now you're going to look at yourself and inside your body, and it looks like it's empty, but it's not. Okay? What you're going to do is allow yourself to start filling up with the golden white light in those areas. And you're going to quickly think about any time that two things, wherever they gave you approval or they gave you attention that was good. Do your best to just pull up something. Did they ever give you a gift?
No.
Okay. Were you able to pull up anything that made it feel like they looked at you, they approved of you? Did they do anything just recently by saying, "Oh, that was good"? I mean,
well, my family have it because my mom passed away now, but I only didn't do it with my father. But the others, I might have posted something, something positive on my Facebook that one might have, said something about. So I can figure that. But,
yes, there's one.
My positive.
And what you're going to do is you're going to start training yourself to notice the positive, and anytime there looks like a negative is that you're going to tap it out, because you don't need to see that. You don't need to keep doing that, because there's a part of you that had to have them carry on that tradition with your father. Okay, so the first time that you felt really abandoned by this particular energy was at 3 years old, and it has to do with feeling awkward because you didn't know how to act and they thought they did, and you are trying to make friends out of somebody that doesn't want to.
Yes, absolutely.
And so now if we just take and notice that if there's anything left, what would it be? Okay, so here's the thing. When you listen in your ears, when's the last time they spoke to you?
Are you talking about friends or people that I've found out on Facebook or whatever?
Yeah, like the
high school?
Well, anybody that just recently made you feel like you've been abandoned, or like your sister made you feel. When's the last time you... A few weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Okay, and when you hear what they say, is it good, bad, or indifferent?
Well, it was kind of good because they were acknowledging something I had written.
Okay.
So I thought that they were acknowledging me, so I was a little important in their eyes, so therefore it was good.
Good. Now that's your second thing. That's great. And any time that you start to getting hooked into that they don't like you, you can then unhook it. It's usually because they're really pointing to that your ears. It's those pauses. It's those quiet times. It's the times that they ignore you that seem to get you the most. And again, that's where you're going to hold with R3D, and you're going to hold that you can't dream, because there's a part of you that knew that they were part of your life, and you kind of needed them or wanted them. That's okay. So you remember R3D, and that's what you're going to heal later, is you're just going to sit down and you're going to feel that when they don't communicate with you, that interferes with your dreams. Now this is what you felt as a kid. As an adult, you don't really feel that way, but it still affects it. So that is the one thing that you're going to do, because you're going to allow yourself to start training yourself to hear positive things from people. At least find one thing a day, because you got to build up that part of you, because that 3-year-old, now it doesn't have all of that pressure and all of that other crap, because there's a part of you that's still letting it go. Now, do you have any physical weight that you don't like?
Like extra pounds, you
Yeah,
mean?
extra pounds.
Yes. Seems like it came on with all this stuff in the last month, actually.
Okay, and they're saying, notice how you have been waiting for a certain amount of attention, but you keep getting the same thing, so therefore it turned into that you're tired of waiting, and then it physically shows on you. And
Yes,
so
they're saying right.
okay, and that's where you're also going to hold R3D, is that it's like I like the other thing I discovered the other day for me was that I was 5 years old and I was promised this, this, and this, and I'm still waiting. My body is still waiting. The muscle memory is it's waiting, and if I give up, then that means I may miss out. So I'm supposed to continue to wait, and then you know, I was like going, seriously? Okay, body, we're not doing this. So you're talking 40 years worth of waiting. And my body has been taking a toll going, when's it coming? When's it coming? So I know what your body feels, and to some degree, as far as you want a particular part of your dream to come true. And they're saying, oh, it was about 6 years old for you when you were dreaming about wanting to do something or be something, and somebody told you to wait. Okay, so a little bit further on my story to help you out was that I wanted people to love me, so I always wanted to do the right thing. So I ended up taking the virtues, you know, like good things come to those that wait, and patience is a virtue. All of these little things ended up being very controlling to me. And I thought if I was a good girl, then I would be loved and I wouldn't have to be abandoned.
Bingo.
So, and it's... Okay, so you have to do the same thing I'm doing, and that is healing it. And for you, you have to hold R3D and really look at all these phrases and thinking, oh, if I just do this, then I'll get love. And if I just do this, and literally just start noticing it, going back. This is one of those big ones that is so quiet but very loud, and it's so controlling and very spreading that it actually affects the physical weight, because R3D is the circulation sex meridian that protects the heart, but it's also the reproductive system, and it's the hormones and the balancing and why we have weight or no weight, okay? And so what I want you to do is that what we just talked about, you're going to do R3D. So you're going to keep doing this until all of a sudden you don't have to know it that way. You literally can start changing it. Now let's going back to the submodalities. It's unhooked. Does it have any shape? It's gone now. I mean, you're going to tell me when we go back, we're going to talk about abandonment, ignored, put down. Okay? And you're going to tell me, do you feel anything, do you feel any shape anymore? Do you feel any heat or any pressure? Do you feel any of that anymore?
Like right now?
Yeah.
It's not there as much. If we were going to put it on a scale from 1 to 10, it'd be about a 5 now. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you just start noticing, because it's one of those things that gradually that you can do by yourself. But I just notice if it feels like it's inside, pull it out. Put it in the treasure chest. Your treasure chest is your biggest friend, and I'm eventually going to get that healing tool up. But if it feels like it's in your face, pull it away. If it sounds like it's loud, turn it down. If it's black and you want it to be white, then you could go and paint it. Start using your imagination and notice it. Make it move if it's sitting still. Literally allow yourself to notice when it's creeping in, because it's one of those steady things. And if you stay ahead of it, then you're going to really wipe this out, so that then that pattern and that strategy will just start to disappear, and you can bring it down all the way to 0. So, and you may just be looking at it. You can hold R3D and think about all those things I just said, and it should disappear too, okay? Okay, I feel like that will help as well. Yeah, is some of this method kind of like your healing tool with the, not the lasso, but the cord?
Yes, you can do that too. See, I'm going to get those other ones up, and it's important because I'm going to call it submodality healing. But literally, if it feels like it's in there, pull it out. Yes, I would look at the cord switching, and I would do it for that particular signature of your father, your sister, and anybody else that does it to you. Okay? You can even do the cord switching for those people on Facebook. You literally can do those little things. Making sure that you take the crap off, you reclaim your power, use the treasure chest to make you feel empowered, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I was just trying to give it some analogy. Well, thank you very much for this. I really appreciate it.
Hey,
There's so much of your story that you tell. I listen to you all the time, and there's so much parallel there. It's like, gosh, are we twin sisters?
Someday we'll meet. Thank you.
So thank you very much for your your help, Dawn.
Thank you so much. And please heal, all right? Oops.
I sure will.
All right, thank you.
We ain't.
Good. All right, so we have a
right.
quick caller, and we will take this caller. And area code 407, you're on the air with Brenda and Scott.
Hi, yes, this is Ben. I am just calling to, to get some sense of direction with my life and people that I bring into my circle.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes I extend, like I show too much of a love and don't receive the same sort of a love in return. So I would like to break that cycle, but I really don't know how to.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what we get here.
We're going to learn to help bring things together, and that is, we're going to break that cycle.
Come together, okay.
Okay. So we're going to break the cycle, and the particular cycle they're pointing to is, right now, the main thing that's happening is what's active, and it's the triple warmer, which causes you to feel muddled. Can't figure it out. Everything seems to be going good, and then it's not. Everything's up, and then it's down. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. So, are you familiar with the healing tools at all?
I didn't hear you.
Are you familiar with any of the healing tools that I have?
No, I'm not familiar with any
Okay.
of the healing tools
So,
that you have.
when I point,
To you before, but I
okay, when I point things out,
get into it.
yeah, when I point things out, I usually don't like to just bring up the information. I like to help people have a healing tool so they can take how they know it and get some form of control or relief, some type of resolve to evolve. So that R3S R is a healing tool. It's a code for the healing tool of hope therapy. Now, can you get into the chat room at all? Because if you do, I'll have my husband just put it in, the information in there. If you're not able to, because if you can't, then it's mwreveal.com, and then you look under healing tools. But
All right, I'll go to your site. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, when you're done with this, I want you to go to the site because I want you to go to Hope Therapy, and you're going to do R3S. R is in the right position. 3 is in the third, or right is in the right
wrist.
Right wrist.
Third pulse point.
And then S is for soft. And you're going to, because right now I see that this is happening to you over and over. So you're stuck in a cycle of how you can't figure it out. Your body's repeating a particular pattern. And R3S is what you're going to hold, and you're going to do exactly what the video says, place your hand on your forehead, and you're going to think about what we just talked about. Now, when you're done healing that, you're going to go do L1S. And L1S is the left wrist, first position soft. And you're going to look at how you feel abandoned, how you give love but it won't come back to you, and how, in a way, it feels depressing. Okay? Because this feels like it has been a cycle for you for a very, very long time, to the point that when you go and you get happy and you want to be happy with somebody, friend or lover or anybody, what happens is that you feel vulnerable and then you get hurt. So, when you hold L1S, you're going to feel all of that, and you're going to tell yourself all these stories, and you're going to be able to address them. The importance to understand is when you're holding those positions, you're placing your hand in your forehead and your hairline, and you're literally going to give yourself permission to heal it as you already think and feel about it. It's very familiar, you do it all the time, but the healing tool will help break the cycle. How you're going to know is you're going to test. Literally say, oh my gosh, yeah, on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 I feel like crap. Yes, here we go again. And then you're going to do the healing tool. When you do so, the blood comes back up to your forebrain. You will literally start to see the number come down. The self-talk will go less. and you give it a color, and then the color will even start to change. You literally start letting that depression go and disappear. You do it now, and all of a sudden happiness will start to come back. So you understand where I need you to go to get the healing tools?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying. That is, I'm going to do these
So,
exercises, I call it.
yep, and when you heal that, when you literally hold it, and then think about all the stuff that you know, these 2 points are really going to help release all of that stuff that seems to bombard you, okay? All right, well, I appreciate you calling in, because now time's already run out, and boy, these 2 hours go fast. So thank you, my dear, and check back in again and let us know.
I do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Very, very much blessed. As Scotty hits the outro, because it is that time, we will see you Friday or Monday.
Thank you all.